So yeah, this is the Beer, Dice, and Sick Minis podcast. That's Beer, Dice, and Sick Minis. BD and SM for all of you who, notice the name change or just don't care enough about it.
Awkward pause.
Awkward pause.
Insert
Yeah.
awkward pause here.
Yeah, I put those in there and look at you guys so that, maybe you'll say things like awkward pause. Anyway, we've been on hiatus. This used to be the Beer Hammer podcast, and one of the reasons for the hiatus is because I went through a lot of busy time at work and just didn't have time to do shit. And then I came up with the brainchild idea of changing the name to something more quaint and hilarious and fun and dirty and kinky.
I love how we threw quaint in there.
Yes.
Yeah. Quaint.
Yeah.
Quaint. Just so you know that we're that sophisticated.
Yes. It's like your grandmother, crocheting doilies of dicks. It's that's how
It's
it
the
works.
Marquis de Sade happy hour.
Yeah, right. Anyway, one of the main reasons I did is because Beer Hammer actually originally started more as a Warhammer and 40K based podcast. As I have grown and gotten back into miniature wargaming, and the group has grown and followed along with me, and we've all been doing things, we've gotten kind of away from a lot of the Games Workshop and 40K type stuff and have gotten into a lot of other games. And I want to be able to talk about everything under one big flag. So it became the Beer, Dice, and Sick Minis.
You hear that? We are the UN of gaming podcasting.
Yeah, that's the idea.
There you go.
We will talk.
We're gonna get eggshell, helmets, and the whole 9 yards. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yes. I want them, and you have to wear them. Because
You do know this is radio, right?
yeah, it doesn't matter. In 20 minutes, you'll be so goddamn uncomfortable. I'll be laughing my ass off. I don't have to wear one. I'm the podcast supervisor.
That's how I live my life, sir. So
Right?
challenge accepted.
Helmets get itchy.
Nah.
UN helmets.
I just choose not to wear them.
Right? Like a sergeant. All good sergeants don't wear helmets. Haven't you seen a Space Marines army? Anyway. Because that's real military.
Yes, that is realism right there.
Yes, it is. So anyway, as a much more generalized format, and because I wanted to do other neat, fun things with the podcast and be able to have it all not under a Warhammer style moniker, we changed the name from Beer Hammer to Beer, Dice, and Sick Minis. I don't really care or need your approval, but I'm glad to have it if you give it. Anyway,
Damn. Shots fired.
Yeah. We've also set a little bit more of a strict recording schedule, I guess you could say. And I plan on being joined by Joe McLean.
Oh, Lord.
I'm not your real dad.
Oh, Lord.
But I'm planning on being joined by Joe and Jeremy.
That's not true. That's impossible.
Yes. Jeremy and I are going to join like the board.
Jeremy, what is that chain that's under the table? It keeps rattling everywhere.
Yeah. Well, things happen.
It's unbreakable. It's totally unbreakable. Anyway, we're going to be hopefully your almost all the time hosts, unless one of us can't make it. In which case, I won't have to scramble for people at the last minute, never knowing who's actually going to be on the podcast with me. The idea is we have some level of routine, I guess, to it.
We fear change.
Yeah. And
I don't like change.
everybody but Joe's drinking beer.
I have to work at 3:30 in the morning, sir. Did you not get that part?
That
is in
No. You made your lameness real.
3 hours.
Yeah. I heard a lot of crying. That was all I heard.
That was me, though. He's actually been a man about it. Yeah.
Was that after you
Yeah.
blew the hobo behind the Kmart?
Well, I mean,
little bit of
column A,
dirty.
a little column B.
Right.
Yeah.
As long as it's in there somewhere.
He got disturbed when he found out he didn't have a phone, so he couldn't call him later for seconds. So.
Yeah.
It happens.
I have issues with rejection.
Who hasn't been there? Yeah, so as everybody...
Awkward pause again.
Yeah, all the awkward pauses. As everybody knows, Jeremy's been on the podcast several times. Jeremy, tell us a little bit about gaming and games you like and what you like to do.
I mean, just playing anything is always fun, but really been having a great time with all the weird games, Malifaux, The Other Side. Really want to get into Through the Breach, the RPG system of it. And excited to get back into Kill Team. Had a lot of fun with that before, and want to get back into that.
What about you, Joe?
I'm more of a hobbyist myself. I enjoy painting more than I do playing. I just like, okay, here's a nicely painted army. You can kill it now.
You're lame. Get off my podcast.
I know. I'm sorry.
No, I'm just kidding.
Power gamer.
That's actually no. That's
I'm a power gamer.
Are you?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I mean, at least you admit it.
Yeah. That's
There's nothing wrong with it if you admit it. And
that's why I played a tournament with 4 models.
true. But I mean, at the same time, I will say that there's not a bunch of people around the game store that are like, Joe, yeah, don't play Joe. Don't do that. There's people that don't say that.
There are?
Yeah, all of them.
Oh.
So you may be a power gamer, but apparently you are pleasant enough to play that everybody excuses it.
That I've never been called pleasant before, so I thank you for that.
I find you pleasant.
That's changing. That's life changing, actually.
He's also a very attractive man.
Ooh.
Sorry, ladies, he's not single.
Oh, Lord.
Anyway, so we're going to go right into basically what the biggest, newest thing in our world has happened, which is the Malifaux M3E, the third edition release. Came out June 28th. Weird released the Yuko, the Base Explorers, BASSE, however the hell you're supposed to pronounce that. Basse, Boss, Base. I don't know. But it's the Explorer Society.
So many
faction.
B words being thrown out right now. It's weird.
Right. I think there was an umlau in there somewhere.
I don't do that, sir. I need you to not offend me that way.
You said it, so you did it.
No.
He was over there, Basse or something over
Basse.
there.
That's not an umlau.
It's the way you did it.
No, it's not.
It's the way you present yourself, sir.
Negative. Anyway, but the Explorer Society is a new faction in Malifaux that has been announced for 3rd edition specifically. We're pretty excited to see it.
Sounds very
But those 2
archaeology.
starter boxes, all of the faction...
Indiana Jones.
Yeah. Guy with a whip.
There.
Yeah.
Well, kind of, yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, frontiersmen.
Yeah.
I don't know how Indiana Jones they get with it, but yeah, they're supposed to be like
Does
frontiersmen.
he shoot Nazis in the face?
No. There's not Nazis in
No
Malifaux.
Nazis, yeah. Nazis never happened.
Yeah, they haven't happened yet.
Yeah.
It's,
Ooh,
it's 1906.
Oh.
Yeah.
And they probably won't based on the world climate and the way they have everything set up in the lore.
Oh, well,
Just
fine.
saying.
Just crush my dreams
Yeah.
then of shooting
You
Nazis
know what?
in the face.
You know what? Go play Dust. Go play
Yeah.
Dust.
There you go.
I do.
Yeah, it's a good fun game.
Yeah, I do.
Anyway, but they released that, the rule book, and the faction cards
Yeah, I
of
can't
all
wait
the
to get
models.
my hands on them.
Yep, they'll be in Wednesday.
You'll be in Wednesday.
The rules are pretty much how the final edition of the open beta was. So you've heard us discuss them before. Right now, there's several people up in arms because a few distributors apparently got stuff late or dates screwed up or something. I don't know exactly what happened. Weird did actually apologize for it
Oh, that's nice.
and released the rulebook and all the cards in free downloadable PDF format
Yay!
several days ahead of release.
Nice.
So, yeah, that was pretty cool of them.
Company who cares? That's weird. I'm not used to that.
Yeah, Games Workshop. I mean, what?
So,
Actually, they're starting to care. I can't talk too much shit because they have been actually
they have
really
been
good
really good
lately.
about it.
I mean, the past couple years have been amazing for GW compared to how they used to be.
buy minis and suck
You
it.
always have to throw that in compared to how they used to be,
I do, yes.
because it's still not great, but it's
I mean,
a lot better.
I mean, it's way better, way friendlier, and way more. Actual. These people pay us money, so we might want to try and keep them somewhat happy than it ever used to be.
Well, I think also a lot of it has to just do with the fact
Hashtag Primaris
a,
Lieutenant.
There's a lot more kids on the playground now.
Yeah,
It's not like they're the only kid on the block to go get your minis from.
that's true. I mean, there are, but none of them can stand up to GW.
True.
I mean, literally, they
True.
they took $5 million of their profit for like the quarter, was it? I don't remember, but they took $5 million of their profit and basically said, "Here's a bonus for all our employees," and spread it out company wide.
Oh, that's
Everybody
nice.
got 25 cents.
Probably. I'm sure it was percentage based, where the higher up you were in the company, the more of that $5 million. you
Yeah,
saw.
of course it is.
Yeah. Because company. But anyway, back to Malifaux, because that's the main topic at hand. The game lore is, as we've discussed in previous podcasts, and we'll reiterate again, really, really cool. Basically, they have found a magical world that has a city named Malifaux where magic is real and it happens. and it's all pretty damn grim dark too.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's giant teddy bears that eat flesh and, you know, all kinds of horrible things. But these things have, you know, whatever. I don't know. Train of thought just derailed like a motherfucker. Anyway, but none of this is scripted.
It's not?
Yeah.
Oh.
But anyway, the lore basically goes that people found it, the breach shut closed, and then they got it reopened 100 years later. And then, you know, the guild has found this commodity called soul stones, which basically power everything and do fancy stuff, and then allow magic earthside. So the guild had a lot of control over the earth governments. And then the earth governments basically started saying, piss off, and didn't worry so much about keeping the guild happy. So the guild wasn't as in control. And they're losing a lot of their power base, and all kinds of neat things are happening in the lore. It's actually a very in-depth and expansive lore. If you get a chance, I really highly recommend getting into it, looking into it, because it is so damn cool.
Yeah, and I was thinking about this the other day about the lore, and it was like when you first got me into Warhammer, and it was like when you look at the lore of Warhammer, it's just all of the different shades of gray. Like even what you would consider is like your most evil factions, there's reasons why they're that way. And
I don't know. It looks all black to me. It's pretty dark.
Yeah. But the more I've been getting into the Malifaux lore, is you kind of have a lot of that same thing there as well. It's, you know, even what you would consider like the worst. From different points of view, like there's those that would view the guild as the worst thing ever, but without the guild, there is no civilization. It's not like the outcasts, it's not like the Arcanists, it's not like any other factions of humanity could have actually held on to Malifaux. They'd have been overrun. And then, you know, when you look at the Neverborn, the monstrous Neverborn, well, this is their home. They have every right to fight for it. But yet there's still these horrible monsters.
Well, and they're pissed off at the humans because the humans started waking up the tyrants, which are these immortal gods that they fought for generations to overcome. Yeah. And then here's the humans meddling in their shit and waking these guys up, and they're like, no, get the fuck out. Like,
and that's the other thing about the story. It's like the more I've been getting into the lore, I keep reading more and I keep listening to other like the lore podcasts. And when a lot of times when you have these kind of stories, you have like, you know, your main bad villain, you know, you got your big baddie, or, you know, your there is no Dana, only Zul, your Mumra, the other living. And in Malifaux, my goodness, you got a new epic, I'm going to destroy the world every other day. There's dozens of them, and they're all fighting each other, and humanity's caught in the middle, riling them up and putting them down at the same time.
Yeah, and the Neverborn are in between all that too. You know,
exactly.
And that's the thing that starts making it really cool, is that like you're mentioning the guild. Like the guild is kind of seen as this, you know, almost an evil corporation that runs everything in Malifaux, and it kind of is, but at the same time, like when you really get into the characters, you see that like the motivations and things behind these characters. Now, Lucius Matheson, who is a Neverborn and he works for the guild, is an evil, dirty bastard.
Yeah.
Why is he dirty?
Governor General, I mean, his motivations notwithstanding. But a lot of the other...
Prior to becoming a flaming effigy, yes.
Yeah. He wasn't exactly the nicest guy, but yeah, most of all your other higher-end guild members were just trying to build a better life for the people of Malifaux.
And it's like, if you look into Charles Hoffman, like, he actually really cares about the people, and that's why he kind of works both with the guild and the Arcanists, because he's like, you know, he's kind of like, okay, I like the order and the power that the guild gives me, and they have all the cool toys to play with because he likes constructs. But he also, you know, wants the best for humanity and is on humanity's side, and not just, you know, oh, well, screw these things because they're bad guys. You know, there's no real cut and dry black and white even across the factions. Because, like, you look at the Arcanist, and Victor Ramos was actually really cool, even though he's gone and disappeared, or I don't remember exactly what happened to him, but he either died or disappeared or something.
Victor Ramos,
I think he left, and he left the MNSU.
Which faction was he again, Victor Ramos?
Arcanist.
Okay, I don't really remember him. I don't know why.
He was the head of the Miners and Steamfitters Union.
Oh, yeah. He left, what's her name in charge?
Yeah, Ironsides.
The Ironsides, thank you, yes.
Yeah, he left Tony Ironsides in charge, and she's more of a... She cares more about the terroristic, like, you know, think Rebel Alliance agenda that the Arcanists have, and less about the Miners and Steamfitters Union, which is their legitimate face, which is actually trying to improve workers' rights and do all these humanitarian things.
And a lot of times, you know, they're just as bad as the guild.
Right.
And how dirty they'll get.
Right. And of course, then you get Marcus, who's basically running around with a Neverborn, like, sure, I'll eat humans. I don't care.
Yeah.
And then, of course, Rasputina, who is literally possessed by the tyrant December. And
how many characters do we have possessed by tyrants at this point?
Rasputina is the main one, along with Hamelin.
And then there's one that's, what's her name?
Bad. Don't do that.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
God.
To everyone at home, I wrapped the table, and I'm not supposed to do that.
There's no rapping here.
Yeah, no rapping
Yeah.
here.
Yeah. I am your podcast supervisor.
But on the bright side, I do know.
I think she's close to the 10 Thunders, maybe not a member, but she came. Maybe she might have come through their breach.
Whoa.
No, because she's possessed by like
Masaki something?
No, Masaki is possessed by like
An Oni.
Yeah, an Oni,
Yeah,
like
okay,
like an
that's what I was
extremely
thinking,
powerful
yeah.
Oni. I think, and I don't know whether he's tapped
That's
into
right,
a
everyone at
tyrant or
home.
not.
I did study.
Yeah, yeah, you know.
I do know what it's like when I talk Warhammer lore with somebody who's never heard of it before.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So,
this is
yeah.
what it's like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have no idea what the fuck you guys are talking about. So.
Rebuke Gulliman is a bitch.
He is. I no argument here.
But
Actually, I don't think that.
Outside of that,
He
looking
is.
forward to
He's a
like
bitch.
the models coming out, I'm
Yeah.
really excited to see the progression.
Right.
Like was it Kaladi is no longer out. He's not as he's a dead man's hand.
Right.
But it'll be interesting what they do with his model, and then the Dreamer.
Right.
They're supposedly maturing him.
Right.
When he's in his dream state in Malifaux, but now he's going to be more of like a rude boy from England with the cricket bat over his shoulder, maybe. Yeah,
Right.
Because he's
Yeah,
he's going to be closer to his actual age in Malifaux.
Right. So, basically, the Dreamer is this kid that has, and he's not possessed by a tyrant, but he's definitely followed by one. The
Yeah.
Tyrant Nightmare.
Think like a symbiotic relationship.
Yeah.
More than
The Tyrant Nightmare basically can enter into humans' dreams and terrify them and kill them in their sleep. But this kid, the Dreamer, when he dreams, he appears in Malifaux as like this ghost-like child, and he ran into the Tyrant Nightmare in his manifestation and was not afraid of him. And so the Nightmare became, like, why is this kid not afraid of me? Why is he not pissing himself? And the kid's just like, okay, cool. You're my friend, Lord Chompy Bits. Let's go play games.
Yeah.
And then they went to go play games, and he goes and fucks shit up.
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah, and like the Nightmare Tyrant like figured out real quick. Not only is he like not afraid of the kid, not afraid of him, but he can also summon the kid actually summons other nightmares around him.
Yeah.
So he basically just gets to lay back and eat potato chips on the couch just by hanging around this kid. He doesn't have to do anything to feed. He just hangs out with the kid and gets what he needs.
So basically a Michael Jackson type relationship.
Ooh, we went there with that. Nice.
Yeah, we did. We totally. No subject too fucked up for BD and SM. But anyway, yeah. So there's a lot of that.
I like it.
That depth in all the factions. Yeah, and that's multiple levels
You're
there,
welcome.
kids. That would be what we call probably a quadra entendre.
It's 40 chess for those keeping score at home.
Your mom.
That's the top level. That's
It's not. But the
final boss level right there.
No, stop. But there's basically, so many awesome factions to Malifaux, and each of them have their like depth of characters and things. And then you get into the Bayou, which is just ridiculous.
Yes.
I love them.
I do too, and the more I'm getting into them, I'm really looking forward to the day that they explain more what happened to the Gremlins.
Right.
Like, what made them smarter? Was it always there? Was it the pulse? What made certain factions of the Gremlins just get way smarter almost instantaneously?
Right, and there's a good chance it had to do with their, the fact that they lived in the swamp, and that was right near Kythera, which was the portal to the, grave dimension, and leaking energies is a big explanation for a lot of things in Malifaux.
And most of my dating life.
Yeah, and in that world.
Just leaking.
Yeah, ask that hobo. He was blowing behind camera.
over here.
But yeah,
Awkward silence again.
Awkward pauses. Yes.
yeah, we're good at those. We could just call the podcast awkward pauses. Welcome to the awkward.
Deep thoughts by awkward pauses.
Yeah, welcome to the awkward pauses podcast. It's been done.
There you go.
But yeah, and those games lead into Weird has done a really good job of tying in, the Malifaux, which is what they started with. Mm-hmm. I can't remember how many years ago it was, but it was like 10 or 15-ish years ago that they started, or less than 15. I think it was like maybe 12. I don't know. I remember that basically around, within my first couple years of tattooing was when I went to Phoenix Games and Ken showed me, he's like, look at this. This is Malifaux. These miniatures are cool. And I went, oh, yeah, they are. And they were all metal at the time. And it was first edition Malifaux.
Yeah.
It had just recently come out. And there were several people playing it. And I bought one of the boxes, and I can't remember which one it was. And then I never ended up playing the game. And then I ended up, getting rid of the box over years of moving around and doing
Just the
stuff.
box, not the minis. Just
Yeah,
the box.
it was just the box. It was, that's the way it worked back then.
You just put a brick in it since they were metal and called it good.
Yeah, you had to cast them yourself. It was just the plans to mold and cast them yourself.
It's just a chunk of lead.
No, that's not how that worked.
It was a do-it-yourself dildo kit. Let's get it straight.
Yeah, no, that's different.
Or in
Whittle
his
your
case-
own dildo.
Or in his case, slightly crooked.
But whittle is spelled W-Y-T-T-L-E-E. Whittle ye old O-L-D-E.
ye old dildo.
You gotta have an E at the end of that shit. Whittle ye old dildo. But yeah, so Jeremy and I have also played quite a bit of the other side.
Love it.
And,
Great game.
And as a large army game, it plays like a skirmish game in a lot of ways. And there's a lot of really cool stuff about it, rules-wise. It uses the same fate deck mechanic, so no dice. Does that mean we have to talk about it?
Talk about what?
There's no dice. We're the beer dice. No, oh god.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It has sick minis in it, though.
Yeah. See, it does have
Yeah,
sick
it
minis.
does have sick minis
Yeah, that's what matters. And beer.
and beer.
That's the important part of that
Yeah.
title, anyway.
Yeah.
Right.
And wait, it's also the kind of funny thing, the extremes of brain no works has the dumb of the other side and Malifaux, because doesn't all the other side models come pre-built?
Yeah, they're actually
So-
a PVC plastic.
Yeah, so it's like,
and
okay,
they're
so in this
pre-built,
one game, we're like, hey, we got all these pre-built models. They're beautiful. Just throw down, pay them if you want. Doesn't matter. And then over here, deal with trying to glue on one strand of friggin' hair onto this model.
No. They're just not going to have a strand of hair.
Yeah,
Have you built a Malifaux model yet?
No.
Oh, have fun.
Yeah.
It's wonderful.
it is a hobby challenge.
It is. Yeah, it's worth it. It's very satisfying when you finally get done.
I
with
just
it.
buy pre-built Space Marines on eBay now, so I don't really give a
Says the guy who's I'm in it for the hobby.
Oh.
Painting.
Ooh.
Painting. I don't build. I hate building. I don't build unless I have to.
Wow.
That's part of the
Dollar
hobby,
menu
sir.
Ordering, motherfucker.
No, it's not.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it
Not
is.
my hobby.
It's part of the hobby.
Not my hobby.
No, my president.
Fucking Obamacare.
You're welcome.
Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, and the cool thing about it is you have these large, basically like movement trays that your fire teams go into, and then multiple fire teams make an actual squad/unit.
Suck my unit.
Yeah. It's kind of interesting because some of the game terminology is a little bit what? Because Weird hasn't done any large mass army games until this one, and this is the first edition of it. A unit is basically anything in the game. So your commander's a unit. If you have something that is, like your one model Titan is a unit. But a squad is a unit that actually has multiple fire teams in it. So
So that's actually the terminology right there is a fire team.
well, no, the fire team is the one base.
Yeah.
But when you have 3 bases of 3 models each together, that's 9 models for those of you who are math challenged. That is a squad, which is also a unit. But then when you have your commander, He is only a unit, but not a squad.
Yep.
Everything's a unit, but not everything's a squad.
And that matters when you do like upgrades on your
Yeah.
units, like in Warhammer, where you can mix and match weaponry. Everything comes pretty static, but then you have upgrades or assets. Thank you, assets you can put on them, and some assets can only go on squads. Some can only go on non-squads. Some have to go on champions. Some on commanders. Some on titans, and then some are general. So you have to kind of play around with that.
Yep. And it gets really cool because then you can use them and do neat things.
It's awesome. It's like I'm looking over at Joe right now. It's like he's at Wimbledon. It's great.
I know. He's just back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. The other cool thing is that you also have stratagems in the other side.
Lots of fun.
When you activate your commanders and as you do your things through your army, you generate tactics tokens, and at the beginning of every turn, you generate tactics tokens, and you spend those to use your stratagems, which you also basically buy into your hand of cards that you're playing with. Your control hand, which is, how you beat certain, flips and cheat fate and all that kind of stuff. If you really want to know, I think Weird has the basic rules for download for all their games for free on their website.
Yeah.
So you can actually go and look at this stuff and see, oh, cool, that's how it's basically played. They don't go into like the big faction overviews, and you do have to buy the big fancy book that had to have all the unit stats and everything.
Or
you
to hear
just buy the
first,
units.
it's weirdbdsm.com.
And that is another thing.
To download that stuff.
That is another thing about
weirdbdsm.com.
Weird that I have to praise on is all of their books are just incredibly great quality.
Oh, yeah.
I mean the artwork. I mean, just when you feel the paper and the print quality and all that. I mean, it's just really great quality books. They're not shoddy at all.
No, they're not. They're great. We definitely love those things. And then you get into Through the Breach, which is a very different style of RPG. Mm-hmm. Using, again, the same fate deck mechanics, so you're not using dice. Jeremy's looked a little more into the rules on this, so I'll let him take it away.
Well, I mean, it works almost exactly like all their other systems
He farted.
do. Yeah.
Whoa.
It was glorious. But yeah, where it has the fate deck mechanic, but now it has a twist deck mechanic as well.
What a twist!
What a twist! where the twist deck is, there is 13 cards in a twist deck of the your 2 through the ace and the 2 jokers. Is that 13 or is that 14? That's 14, isn't it?
Math is hard.
Math,
Yeah.
Not even once. But so you have your twist deck, and then there are suits that apply to you. You actually have to pick which cards of which suits you're going to put in your twist deck, and that is your personal deck that you have that you draw out of in order to cheat fate and the things that you do. So you're not actually pulling from a normal 52 card deck, but you have the fate deck in the middle that everyone pulls from. That is like when you're rolling dice for an RPG. And then every time you go through the entire deck, everyone gets to pull a card from their twist deck. It's the way the game kind of times out how often you're going to get more cards in your hand and be able to cheat fate when you're using that deck. And then you have all kinds of manners depending on how you designed your character when you get to draw cards normally. But it's an interesting system. It's a lot of the same tropes and a lot of the same things of any RPG, but you still have that great Malifaux lore that you get to run with, and you've got this very interesting new mechanic to play with.
Right.
I'm always interested in playing with a new mechanic.
Well, what you do at the Valvoline Instant Oil Change is your own business, sir.
Well, they have a camera there, so it's
Okay,
much
Jiffy
everyone's-
Lube.
yeah,
Jiffy
everyone's
Lube.
business.
Jiffy Lube.
I guess that's where you got to go then.
Ooh,
You missed that boat.
Would anyone like greasy sausage?
Awkward pause.
pause.
Only because you
Oiled
made it that way.
crankshaft.
Wankel rotary engine.
Brake job.
Did you ever see that Monty Python sketch?
Probably.
I think
I mean, they've been around.
I
for a
can't.
minute.
I can't remember if it was only on like the audio, like the records, the vinyl.
I'm surprised you guys didn't go with the tranny, but that was just me.
No, I think it was only on the actual like vinyl releases of Monty Python's Flying Circus. Mm-hmm. But they did a sketch where they were like, it came on and he's like, rate your embarrassment factor to these words. Wankel rotary engine. And they say all this weird shit. I can't remember half of it, but it's like there were several of them that they say, and it was hilarious. Just and so now, anytime anybody says weird shit, it's things you got to throw.
The world
in there.
never threw enough money at them. They needed to make so much more.
Yeah, they should have.
Yeah.
John Cleese should be knighted if he hasn't been already. I'm just saying.
I don't know if he had. One of them just got knighted.
Good.
Yeah, but I don't think it was John Cleese.
Should have all been knighted.
Yeah, they should have
including
all been
John
knighted.
Cleese. I would have really loved to have seen that ceremony of John Cleese getting knighted by Queen Elizabeth.
Well, no, the one that got knighted here recently was knighted by Prince.
Prince, he's dead.
Prince? He's not English
No,
royalty, and he's
I
dead.
forget which one. The older Prince.
That was Michael Jackson, not Prince.
It's not Charles, because that's
Edward? I don't know. Some silly English name.
yeah. It was the older one. I know that.
The older one. Okay.
The older one.
The older
Okay.
one of the royal family.
Yeah, well, that makes sense. That would have been Queen
Appreciate it.
Elizabeth.
I'm glad we narrowed it down.
I think her name was Elizabeth.
Dude looks like a lady. That's all I'm saying.
You chicken neck bastard. That was a beer opening because we are drinking beer while we do this podcast. Anyway. Now that we've had that bit of fun. Woo. So, any other games? Non-weird, non-GW?
Flames of War.
Yeah.
Painting a lot of Flames of War.
Do you know how to play it?
I do.
Have you played it?
I have not. I read the rule book.
Would you like to tell us what the game's about, Joe?
You push the big... Actually, they're pretty tiny. It's 15 millimeter.
Yeah,
so
there
you
you
push
go.
tanks across fields and you shoot other tanks and infantry. Awkward pause.
Do go on.
That's it. That's all you do.
That's all you do?
Yep.
I don't know the game.
You go
but
click, clack on a tank.
What's the background of the game?
It's World War II.
Usually,
Does
like
it use,
a kitchen table.
dice? How does the mechanics work on it? I mean, tell us these things, Joe.
There's dice.
Have a personality.
I have no personality.
You're going to get fired.
Just do your best, like Ed McMahon. Run with that, and we'll be fine.
Future podcast, Joe is just going to be my hype man. Me and Jeremy are going to talk, and he's just going to go, that's right, Johnny.
And deliver the checks.
Yeah. Well, Ed, that's just eggshells. That's all I can say, Ed.
But anyway, yes. It's basically like a World War II type game where you roll a hit and you roll a wound, and it's basically like a GW game, only I like some mechanics better, but some of them are kind of awkward.
Does it work on like kind of the epic scale with the orders to the units and things like that?
Yes,
or?
you do give orders to your units, and they carry out those orders, but it's done, again, per activation.
Okay.
It's done activation. Like, I activate this unit of tanks, and then you activate a unit of tanks. We roll off for initiative.
What if I want to activate a unit of infantry?
Well, you can do that, too, but...
Okay.
Who buys Flames of War to use infantry?
I would.
I would, yeah.
Weirdo.
Yeah, I would do that.
Bunch of Russians.
Yeah.
Yeah, they basically won
Quit
the
clogging
war.
my tank tracks.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sorry, but the Russians tore shit up in World War II.
Yes,
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah. Good old Russian.
Mainly the European economy, but who?
Oh, he's Lenin, you're so Lenin.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I haven't played it though, so I've read through the rule book.
well, that's cool. They also have a modern warfare version because it's by the same company
Yeah,
as Team Yankee.
It's the same. It's almost the same mechanic. There's a couple
Right.
differences.
I'd imagine there'd be a little bit of difference because modern stuff versus World War II stuff. There's such a difference in the archaicness. I'm just kidding. There's really not.
Just find it, I'm just thinking about it. I find it
yeah.
very interesting that people are putting like modern warfare on things. Because, I mean, think about how awkward it'd be if we were reading something about, World War II, but someone built it back then and called it modern warfare.
That made no goddamn sense.
Yes, I did. I've been drinking. Whatever.
What? Do you smell toast? Am I having a stroke?
BDNSM podcast brought to you by me and Joe now because Jeremy just stroked out. Should we call 911?
No, he's good. We got a good couple hours
He's
before permanent damage is done, usually.
he's still twitching. Wait till he stops.
Oh, that's normal. That happens. Walk it off.
Bitch. Anyway.
Are we done with stroke jokes yet, or can we continue? Because I had one about him dragging his leg. But
Yeah, I mean,
well, we already did.
if you're having a stroke, it's most likely in a circle.
stop. Well, I've been playing Infinity.
I have not played that yet.
Me and Joe Thompson played Infinity, and we went through the beginner missions, basically in the Operation Ice Storm book. We got almost to the last one, and it is a really awesome game.
The ranges on that game, though, the way you explain it, I feel like you should be playing out in your front yard.
No, that's Gates of Antares.
Oh,
Yes.
Yeah.
I dug up my old Algoran, so.
Oh, nice. We could play that too sometime. Me and Nathan were playing Gates of Antares for a little bit, and then we've kind of life has gotten in the way of me being able to do much.
Damn it, life.
Fucking life. Anyway, but yeah,
I hate that cereal.
Infinity has really impressed me as a strategy game. I've been into it since it came out, but mostly just the models. I like the models and painted the
They
models.
do have some sick models.
Oh, they have some.
I like
badass
the big ass robot vibe that they have.
Right, and Angel Geraldez is like one of my probably more or less favorite mini painters, next to a couple other people. He's amazing, and he's their studio painter for Corvus Belli, which is the company that does Infinity. They have a lot of cool stuff in their game. It's very skirmish tactical, like. You actually have to worry about your line of fire, how much room your miniature takes up, the kind of the volume and silhouette of it. You do things in orders, so you generate orders basically every turn. At the beginning of a turn, if you have like 6 regular troopers in your list, you will generate 6 regular orders. You have regular, irregular. Your lieutenant generates a specific lieutenant order, and then if you have something like impetuous or there's I think it's just impetuous is the only other type of order.
That is an awkward word.
Yes, impetuous.
Impetuous.
But those orders, do kind of different things. Like impetuous has to be spent on, the unit that generates the order. And literally it just goes straight at the nearest enemy to kill. That's all it does. You can't do anything else, but you do get to move it and do shit with it before, like literally immediately
after. It sounds
after.
like all of my orders would be impetuous.
Yes. Immediately after deployment, but before you
like
actually
your
start.
Berserker or
similar, yeah. But you actually have a berserk rule, which doesn't
Tell me more.
do the same as impetuous. We'll get there. We'll get there. Literally, you have like a rule or unit ability for almost anything you can think of in a small squad skirmish warfare type situation.
Beat them in the face.
Including multiple levels thereof.
Always a big fan.
Like you actually have multiple levels of camouflage. So if your dude's just in a ghillie suit, you're just camouflaged. It's not as good as if you have thermal optic camouflage. And then you have another level above that, which is like you're invisible as fuck.
What if I wear a wool blanket under my ghillie suit?
I was literally just seeing soldiers out there like in green screen suits, doing the green man.
Green screen Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. That's why they're so good. Plus, they were cold-blooded.
They're not in the game.
What?
What?
I'm losing interest in your story.
Obviously. I'm apparently talking with too big of words. Anyway, so you basically can assign the orders. You can assign one order to each dude and do things with them. Or you can assign all your orders to one dude and just run around the battlefield with one guy if you want. It's very interesting. Yeah. Except for like you can't give a lieutenant order to somebody who's not a lieutenant. You can't give if your lieutenant dies
Because he didn't go to college.
Right. If your lieutenant dies, if your lieutenant dies,
He can't read past a 5th grade reading level. Okay.
Yeah, I'm just seeing like Rodney Dangerfield in Back to School, the mini game now.
Anyway, if your lieutenant dies, you can't. Everything goes irregular, and irregular orders can only be spent on the trooper that generated.
Well, that's not realistic at all. Lieutenant dies, you're like, oh, okay, somebody doesn't matter.
Lieutenants are supposed to matter in this world, okay?
Oh.
It
Sounds interesting.
It's
though.
not the same. It is.
Well, I mean, I just like the idea that you can actually just stack a bunch of orders on your lieutenant.
Yeah, basically. If you want to. Now, I mean, he's probably going to die before you get done with all those orders. Because the cool thing is, you say you run a guy from one section of cover to another. They have what's called short skills, and then there's entire order skills. And then there's automatic shit that you don't have to actually spend any part of your order on. So when you give the guy an order...
I feel like all of my shit is automatic.
You don't even know. Anyway, so when you give the guy an order, you can do a short skill, which is like move, and then a BS attack, ballistic skill attack. Yeah. Close combat attack, dodge, those kind of things. So if you move and you describe the movement, everything happens simultaneously. So you basically say, okay, I'm moving from here to this, from this bit of cover to that bit of cover. And as you move along that, you can do the second order, which is the BS skill. But you automatically move the miniature where he's going to end, and then you can declare the BS attack where you want it to happen in that movement range. And then if you happen to, because you're in line of fire of somebody, if they're in line of fire of you, and it's vice versa, they basically get to shoot back at you when you shoot at them. So it's fully interactive that when I'm doing shit, you're doing shit too, because I'm going to roll my dice to hit you and you're going to get to shoot back at me.
Just remember, boys and girls, if they're in range, so are you.
Yeah, exactly. And, depending on the guns and stuff you're using, sometimes it can be very detrimental. If you got a guy who's got a rifle that's not good at close range and you run past a guy who's got a shotgun who's watching that angle, oh, guess what? You're fucked. Because his BS attack is, they call it an automatic reaction order, ARO. If that guy's arrow basically is like, hey, cool, I see you, and my gun's better than yours at this range, you're going to blow that dude off his feet before he's done with his movement, basically. And it's going to kill the shit out of him. And it's not uncommon to lose more models on your opponent's turn, lose more models on your turn than your opponent's turn. Because, you lose a lot to the reactive orders. Yeah. Because they're not moving around and doing things, stuff
Moving
like
is
that.
dangerous.
Oh, yeah, it's very fucking dangerous. And you have to really plan
That's why I
it.
don't like change.
Right.
Gun line.
It doesn't work in the game, though.
Everybody get in a circle, okay?
And they solve that by basically creating the board is supposed to be pretty dense with terrain. So if you try to stay static, it's not going to work very well.
I like it.
Yeah, and the fact that you can have a dude literally pop from total cover into partial cover, shoot you, and then pop back in. And so if you're trying to do a gun line, you're probably not very well covered, and so your guys will get mowed down. And so it's really cool. I've been playing that, and of course the miniatures are beautiful. Check them out. Check out the game too. It's great. There's not a lot of people that play it around here.
Yeah, that's
so,
my main problem with games that I buy into.
Yeah, like
Nobody wants to play with me.
I don't want to play with you.
I know.
Power gamer.
Nobody does. Yeah.
So
Watch
what
out,
about-
boys and girls.
So you did get hate, right?
I did get hate.
Yeah.
I got to look at hate. Those are some pretty cool looking minis.
I love the minis. I love them. They're great. I played one game with my wife. She hated it, but, I made her anyway so I could learn. And
Yeah.
it's actually pretty solid.
Does she hate playing all games or
Yes.
just hate? Okay.
Yes.
So she's a lot like Rebecca.
I guess. I don't know. Yes, but I forced her.
Yeah.
So that sounded
You
awkward,
monster.
but I know.
Cool. Anybody seen any new cool Kickstarters or anything new and fancy and neat coming out?
Not in a while.
There is there's
Warhammer Armageddon.
well, yeah, there's Apocalypse.
I mean.
But we're talking about non-GW stuff at the moment.
Oh, well, you didn't specify. You said new stuff
I did.
coming out. God.
I did like forever and a day ago if you were actually paying attention.
Now you're asking a lot.
The GW section is at the end of the podcast.
You're at the end of the podcast.
Shh, your mom.
Whoa.
I still have to check out Song of Fire and Ice.
Yeah.
I'm like way behind.
What a nerd.
I know, right?
It's amazing.
It is.
Yeah.
I like it a lot.
If only you came over and gamed it.
So now I'm that guy in the gaming room. I'm that guy who hasn't played Song of Fire and Ice.
Yeah.
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 Good job.
Yeah. I'm
Gold
that
star
guy.
for you.
I'm that guy.
Okay,
Yeah.
wait for it. Awkward pause.
Yeah.
All right, we're done.
All right, there you go.
That was your awkward pause for that 5 minutes. Cool. So, I mean, aside from that, there's not much else on the gaming front coming out new that's not GW that, we know about. I haven't seen a whole lot of new Kickstarters. I usually try to stay kind of dialed in. I've seen some Kickstarters for like terrain things for like
the
games
terrain
and
tutor
stuff.
came out with us. Is coming out soon with his book of goodness. I don't know if anybody watches the terrain tutor on YouTube. It's amazing. He does amazing shit.
I'm sure he does.
Awesome.
And I don't want to do a damn bit of it
Yeah, well,
because I fucking hate building terrain, making terrain, painting terrain.
it's not the part of the hobby I enjoy, but it is necessary if you want.
Yeah. Well, that's why I buy
tables.
like the Plascraft Studios. I buy all their colored terrain stuff, so I just have to glue it together and then it's good to go.
But that goes in with the building part.
I don't mind the building so much.
I hate building. You don't mind building the building?
Yeah, I don't mind building the building. It's just painting it. Like my kill team terrain, none of that's painted. I don't think I actually have much of any terrain that I've actually painted. Everything is either already colored or it's just still whatever color plastic it came as. Yeah.
It's not everybody's cup of tea. But
No, because I'm painting a fucking building. This is so exciting. Yay. And it should be more exciting to me because it does make your table awesome.
yeah. You're like, oh yeah, look at that building.
Yeah.
Have you ever understood like the static tables where someone builds like this giant scene table and all that?
I mean, non-modular tables?
Yeah, or it's like, well, that's the
You
same.
play on it 3 times and you're like, okay,
Yeah,
this
okay,
is
yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
Hope
Let's go put this in the
hope
corner
somebody
now.
wants to buy this,
Right?
play it 3 times, and then sell it themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah, I always thought it would be better, and I like the idea better of doing like getting like the MDF board and doing tiles
yeah.
with like buildings or scenery elements on it so you can mix and match and swap things out.
Well, fine. You
I
don't
always
get
thought
to
that
play
was a
with
much
my,
cooler idea.
my little board that I'm making, so.
Who said I fucking wanted to?
Good, because you're not going to.
Yeah, well, I don't want to. Anyway, I think we're going to take a
Don't laugh
break
at
here.
me. You didn't ask me if I wanted to play on it. Laugh at
You
your
didn't play
joke.
a Song of Fire and Ice, so you can just back the hell off.
Yeah, bitch. Maybe if you were
pause.
cool and played cool games.
That turned on me quick.
Yeah. Anyway, we're going to go ahead and take a quick little break, and we're going to come back and talk about some hobby stuff.
Yay! Contrast paints.
Yay. And then we're going to get back into things that we've heard about GW.
Oh, Lord.
I get to go
pause.
back to knowing
Yeah.
nothing.
That was the awkward pause part of the break. GW's not bad. And none of their games are bad. I enjoy their games still. Adeptus Titanicus. All right, we're back from our stupid break. You couldn't tell a difference, nor should you.
Whoa.
I don't even know if there was an awkward pause in there. We should have put one.
Wait. There it is. Okay, we're good.
Yeah, we should have just left the thing recording the entire time we were on break.
The Awkward Pause Podcast.
Anyway, we're going to go on to a lot of the meat and potatoes of what I like to talk about, which is our hobby stuff.
Woo!
Yeah. And that was not an awkward pause. That was an awkward belch.
Damn it, Jeremy. Screw everything up.
He
Yes,
does.
I do.
Yeah. That's kind of what he does. The biggest thing that has hit hobby news lately is that his hit.
Behit.
It behit hobby news.
That is hit.
Oh. Continue.
Hobby news lately is contrast paints. Good old contrast paints from Games Workshop.
Haven't used them yet.
I know. And neither has Jeremy.
No, I haven't.
So I'm just going to keep talking.
I've
Go
watched
for it.
videos on. They look very exciting. I really want to work with them.
They are exciting. According to Games Workshop, what you need to do is buy their rattle can primer, spray things either gray or white, and then put a big thick coat of contrast paint on it. And what you get is a globby model that has a lot of coffee staining and looks good enough for tabletop, damn it. I say that with a question mark. Because doing it in their method, it doesn't look bad, but it can be done so much better, and it still takes the same amount of time. What I have done is basically I prime black use white ink to zenithal shade than a matte varnish.
Well, you're throwing a lot of big words out right now.
I know. For people like Joe who don't know anything.
I know nothing about hobbying, obviously.
Right. Jackass.
Yeah, I know nothing about painting. Nothing like that.
No, not a bit. But basically, zenithal shading is you use the white. I use the white ink because it shows through the black. So when you just do little areas of it, it actually comes through gray when you do it, light and not a heavy
Which
coat.
one are you using? Liquitex?
Yeah, the Liquitex titanium
love
white.
that shit.
It's amazing.
Game changer.
And then you over the very top of the model, where light would essentially be coming down, you let more of the white ink collect and it becomes white. So you get from a white to a grayish tone, and then the very deep recesses stay kind of black. And then when you actually paint over that, you do have to matte varnish it, because the contrast paints, whatever they make them out of, because they're not acrylic, will actually dissolve the ink off of the model. I found out. And it makes
Pro
it,
tip.
yes, makes a mess. It's not fun.
Now, why do you matte varnish over gloss varnish on that? Because I think the gloss varnish would provide a smoother surface to.
You would think that, and if you were actually washing or like doing inks or like oil washes, the gloss varnish or satin varnish is way better. Mm-hmm. But with contrast paints, for whatever reason, it actually breaks the surface tension too much, and it pushes too much into the recesses and leaves your highlights too open. And so the matte varnish actually lets it behave perfectly. And so I get some on the brush, and I actually paint from recesses out with not a thick coat, but like literally a little thicker than you would if you're doing acrylic paint or like an acrylic glaze.
Are you using it straight from the pot, or are you using contrast medium?
Straight from the pot usually. And I don't use contrast medium. You can actually use airbrush flow improver. Mm-hmm. It works good to cut it down, because water kind of, again, breaks it up a little bit. They tell you not to use water. Yeah. You can, and people have had different results with that. I like the flow improver technique.
I don't really like using water to thin down my paints in general.
No, it drops the pigment. You get less saturation. But if you use the flow improver, it actually keeps it the way it is and drops it down a little bit. But I haven't had to thin much. I just get, I get a decent amount on the brush, a little more than I would if it was, acrylic paint. And then I work from recesses out, and takes me no time whatsoever. I mean, I literally painted several Malifaux models in like 20 minutes. And, lets you get everything everywhere. I'm just kind of a little careful not to kind of, overlap spots, because, if you put red accidentally on a leather holster and then you paint the brown over top of it, you're going to see that red spot underneath the brown.
That seems kind of annoying.
It can be. I mean, you can go back over it with a little bit of the, like the white, like a little bit of white or gray, like acrylic paint, whatever's going to match it. And then you can, contrast over top of that once it dries.
So why you paint corn berserkers and you cover up your mistakes and bloodstains?
Right. That makes sense.
Pro tip. There you go.
Pro tip. And then once I'm done with that, I just matte varnish it and base it.
It's called weathering.
Yeah. And that has produced some of the best results. A lot of the Infinity models and Malifaux models I've been doing that with. And, that's pretty much my technique that I've figured out so far.
Yeah, I'm interested in trying them out. I'm not I wasn't completely on the hype train. Like, oh yeah, this is a game changer, da-da-da-da. I think it's another tool for the toolbox.
Right.
I don't think it's, everybody's going to be using contrast paints for everything now. It's just another tool.
Yeah, there's certainly areas where like I've been like, contrast won't really work for that. Mm-hmm. Like you really don't want to paint a tank with contrast. It would, no matter how you do that, it's going to coffee stain.
Maybe put it through an airbrush.
Or airbrush, yeah. I mean, whatever. Yeah. But you don't want to use contrast paints for your tank. That's the big thing.
But I saw some people doing some interesting things with the weathering side with the contrast paints as a tank.
Yeah, I'm sure you can.
Because they were using the browns and doing like mud stains and shit because it's see-through.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it dries very translucent.
So,
and people have used them on, they've taken models and used, I've seen a few people doing like metallics, and then they'll do the contrast over the metallic, and then it basically does like the candy coat.
Yeah, there was a guy I know who was he does Thousand Suns, and it's a game changer for him with that, because it saves so much freaking time, and he doesn't have to use toxic Tamiya paint anymore with a freaking breather on.
You know,
Because that shit will fuck up your lungs.
You know, I actually had a relatively easy time with the 1,000 Suns, and all I did was prime them gold, and then painted the recesses, and then I used oil washes.
I'm talking about 30K 1,000 Suns.
Oh,
30K 1,000 Suns, sir.
yeah, that'd be a little different.
Yeah, it's a little different.
that good old Tamiya.
Yeah, Tamiya red clear. Mm-hmm. Shit'll fuck you up.
I'm sure. You get high, brother. Higher than Harlem. Anyway. That's racist.
You asked for it, we went there. So.
Yep. No topic untouched.
Or person.
Yeah. Jeremy's been touching me this whole time.
It's weird because you guys are across the table.
I know.
Too,
It's really long.
Skill.
Yeah. Spaghetti noodle.
Pushing rope.
I mean, that's basically the lowdown I have on contrast paints. Is that system works really good. I like it. Aside from that, right before contrast came out, I actually bought the Monument Hobbies. They work with Creature Caster, and they do the Pro acrylic paints, and those are really, really, really good. Those are probably the best acrylic paints I've ever used on a Mini.
Whose?
It's Monument Hobbies.
Never heard of them.
That's a guy, Jason Craze. He used to do Slow Fuse gaming.
Yeah.
But they also do the Baumwick brushes, which are all really good brushes too.
Yeah, I bought a couple of those.
Yeah.
They're great.
Yeah, they're pretty good. Especially for the cost, because they're no different than like your kind of, budget brushes. They're a little more than, I guess, like the cheapest crap you could buy. But they're they're literally, like, to me, they're right below like the Winsor & Newton, Artis Opus type series brushes.
I wouldn't know. I've never bought one of those. So
I bought a bunch of Winsor & Newton, and they are the shiznit. But I still use my Baumwicks also. So it's like,
it's one of those things where I'm like, if I don't know what it is, then I don't feel like I'm missing anything.
yeah, you're right. Once you spend that outrageous amount of money per brush, you're like, wow, now I realize why these things are so damn expensive, because they are good as hell. And now I don't want to not have to use them.
Exactly. I'm just like, if what I don't know won't hurt me.
Yeah, I went over to Joe's once. He has a bunch of those weird cake decorating brushes that he bought at Walmart. That's actually how
My
he paints
spatulas?
Yes.
Why are you making fun of my spatulas, sir?
He just has some spatulas.
You can use them for painting, and then when you're done, you can spackle your wall. It's perfect.
Yeah, why would you not do that?
Yeah, makes perfect sense.
Don't do that. It's horrible.
What, spackle your wall?
You can spackle your wall, but only if it's in the right context.
Ooh. Is that another one of those quadrangle entendres that you have there?
Yes. Actually, that's a trapezoidal entendre. It's totally different.
Whoa.
I didn't know I was going to geometry class today.
Or are those the guys that jump through the air in the circus?
Allegedly.
Allegedly. That's most of what I've been doing hobby-wise, is messing with those and building infinity models.
I've been painting a fuck ton of Raven Guard.
Yeah?
Oh, yeah.
Do you have a cool formula for the black?
Black?
Because nobody likes painting black.
Nobody. I don't mind it, actually. I paint a lot of weird colors. I paint white. I paint yellow. I paint black.
Yellow and white don't bother me, but black I can never get it right.
Why?
I don't know. I just can't. I'm dumb.
I've been using very light blue highlights. It's very... what's the word? Minute. But it's just enough to give them kind of a shadowy effect.
Is that so?
You're minute.
Is that MYNEWT?
What?
Are you calling Jeremy a newt and then saying
What?
that you possess him? Right. As long as you got better.
Oh, Lord. Another
He
Python rabbit hole.
Yeah, had to bring it back. Yeah.
yeah, he can't help you here.
No, but I've been. I like to use their. I just lost my train of thought again. The Raven Guard torsos, because you can actually highlight those very easily with a quick dark gray dry brush.
Nice.
So I've just been painting primered black, then Game Air Vallejo black over top to give it that nice matte finish, and then I've been using uniform gray from Army Painter
Okay.
to give them some nice dry brushed highlights, and then I come in with my airbrush again and highlight the blues where I want to give it that nice shadowy effect. And that's pretty much it.
I really hate
Simple
Army
and
Painter
easy.
paints.
Why?
By the way. I just don't like them.
Hey,
It's old GW formula, and I don't like it.
I like. I don't like all of their paints.
Yeah.
I like their grays. Their grays are really good for me. They've always worked well. But I don't like their yellows. I don't like their blacks.
Yeah. I like Vallejo and the Games Workshop, and some of the Games Workshop stuff. Some of their colors, I'm like, no.
I've almost gone totally away from Games Workshop, honestly.
Yeah, the problem with their stuff is you have to thin it a lot.
Yeah, it's a pain in my dick hole. So I just buy Vallejo Game Air.
But and then of course, like I said, I got the Monument Hobby stuff, and I'm like, I don't give a damn. I'm gonna mix the color I need because this shit, it's so smooth and it's so matte when it dries, and it's so nice and wonderful.
My only problem with mixing colors is I can never get it to match again.
You can just mix it to the same tone that's on the palette that's already there.
I'm not that good. Haven't you heard? Do you remember my spatulas?
It's not that hard.
That's what you think.
Hey, thump! Stop thumping the table. That was McLean's boner. Anyway, cool.
Called
yeah.
me tuna can in high school.
Only because of the length.
So
Yes.
you've been working on Raven Guard.
Yes,
Cool.
a lot of Raven Guard,
A lot of Raven Guard.
mass infantry, and no jetpacks. So
No jetpacks with Raven Guard.
no jetpacks. 100% walkie-walkie.
What about you, Jeremy? What have you been working on?
I've been bad. I haven't worked on anything recently.
You
Well
get an
deserved awkward pause.
Yeah.
You're just full of awkward pauses tonight.
I know, right? Nothing. Haven't been painting nothing.
Well, no, the other side, the Carcanoid and the striped skulkers.
No, I was saying because 2 weeks ago,
Yeah.
you had that.
Yeah, I guess that was pretty recently. Yeah, but all I did with any of that though was just the Xanathol shade, and then hit it with the inks with the airbrush.
Which I mean, those models are fantastic for that technique
Yeah.
because they have so much. Imagine a mix of Tyranid and Zerg, and that's basically what you got for the most part when it comes to the Carcanoid. They're weird Zerg-looking centipedes.
Yeah. But I had a lot of fun with that one too, because I mean, I did.
At least they're not human centipedes.
I did the Xanathol, but then I actually
Feed her.
went back over a lot of the lighter details with the whites and the grays before I did the inking.
I love how Jeremy just went on when just kept going.
Yeah, he just didn't give two
disregarded
shits.
what we just said.
Shit.
He's like, whatever, you guys can digress all
I
you
thought I
want.
had
I'm
something to talk about with painting.
talk over y'all. Nice. So yeah, just that. And I've been doing Infinity and Malifaux. So, like I said, using the contrasty stuff, I've been I painted an entire crew just in between clients at work, and
Yes, in between clients.
yeah,
Awkward pause.
yeah. You like. Is it weird that I say clients?
Yes,
Why is that?
because you're servicing them.
Yeah, I'm putting tattoos on them. That's.
Oh, you got to be more specific.
I'm gonna light you on fire.
Wouldn't be the first time.
Yeah. No, it'd be the first time I lit you.
Oh, it'd be the first time for you, yes.
Yeah.
But it would not be the first time I've been lit on fire, so it's okay.
Well, that's cool. I might do it better. Yeah, I'm actually debating starting my King's Army stuff with lots of basing. I don't really normally like basing, but I kind of want to base those movement trays and the dudes because I think it'd be fun to do. Just
How would you do the movement trays?
oh man, I put the dudes in there.
Oh, I got
You know,
you.
put the dudes in there and just
Base
tacky.
everything.
Yeah.
Just tacky glue the shit over it, and then throw sand and tufts and
Throw sand.
yeah. What happened? But yeah, and then a little bit of cork. I just pick right up after the jackass. A little bit of cork, and then prime the whole damn thing and paint the dudes in the base and tray all together. I think that's how that would work.
Now, for that game, do you actually remove units from the trays?
Yeah. Your dudes are wounds basically. So when your fire team takes a wound, or takes damage, as they call it, you take a model out.
See, that's the only.
What makes like your Titans and your champions and commanders very vulnerable if you don't put assets on them. Because they're just a wound, and if they take a wound, they're gone. But when you put assets on them, your assets also can be flipped over and then discarded after they've been flipped to absorb wounds.
Yeah, that's my only problem with like basic movement trays is if you have to pull stuff out of it. It just looks kind of weird for me, but that's just my opinion. It doesn't matter. That's the only reason I was asking.
He threw his opinion out and then clarified that it didn't matter.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good
Because this
job.
is America.
America.
Good job, low self-esteem.
No, I just know my place.
Here's my opinion. It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
No one cares.
Fucking
Here it
Eeyore.
is if you want it. But you don't want it, do you? I'll just take it back.
Yeah. Whatever you say, man. Whatever you say.
That is the first time you ever said that to me, but okay.
I know, right? Because I wasn't listening to a damn thing you said.
It's fine.
I was hanging my head in shame that I know you people.
What do you mean, you people?
You people.
Wait, what do you mean, you people?
White people? Awkward pause. Nobody likes white people. It's cool. We can talk shit about them.
Fuck Whitey.
But anyway, yeah, that and ooh, I have learned something neat, interesting tip.
Pro tip.
Pro tip: if you get the Army Painter super glue accelerant, it tends to turn your super glue like milky white,
Yeah.
like snow.
I was noticing that.
If you buy the Bob Ross Industries or whatever it is, or Bob
Goes
Knucklehead,
clear.
Bob Smith Industries, whatever it's called.
Bob Ross.
Yeah. Hey, all I gotta
Great would have
say,
been if Bob Ross had done minis.
hey, you know what? All I gotta say is Weird made a Bob Ross gremlin. He's amazing.
And it's great.
He has a little piggy shoved into an easel that he's painting the stomach of. It's awesome. Little piggy. Little piggy, go and paint him. But yeah, they that does that, which actually helped me out with some of the Infinity, because when I was doing the Ariadne and the Highlander, Scottish force and stuff, I use the Gamer's Grass, the battle ready bases. I like those because then I can just buy them and I don't have to bother actually putting shit on bases
You
or
lazy
painting them.
bastard.
I know. It's what happens when you go,
I want somebody else to put the static grass on my bases for me.
I don't have much time, but I do have money. So I'm going to buy these things.
Must be nice.
It is nice. You should try it sometime. And so I was like, there were a couple spots where I put glue on, and I'm like, it'd be nice if there was a little more snow on that base. And then I used the Army Painter Accelerator and created more snow. It's great.
I thought we were going down a completely different route, but okay.
Like, where did you think I was going to go with that?
You said you were going to make more snow, and I was like, oh, okay. That's kind of weird.
Yes, I made all my miniatures do cocaine because it was hilarious. They were running around the battlefield like crazy people. No.
Well, pro tip, I use I do a lot of blood effects on my models, if you didn't know. But
Yeah.
I use dental floss. and I glue the dental floss to the model, and I put super glue down it in a large dribble, and I hit it with the accelerant and it dries clear, and then you just put a little bit of blood from the blood god on it, and it gives you a nice little drippy effect. Pro tip.
Another pro tip. Should you happen to be doing Necrons that rose up out of a swamp like I recently did, do not get the bright idea to buy Spanish moss from a hobby store and try and put it on your monolith, because it is goddamn annoying. That was aggravating as shit. Never going to do it again, but I did it. We got done with it. I'm happy. I did buy a bunch of the Vallejo weathering effects and mud
This
and
is
stuff
America.
like that.
It's Vallejo.
Yeah, that's not how you pronounce that.
Don't care. America.
Oh, you pronounce it however you want. I'm going to pronounce
There's
it.
more of us than them. I pronounce it how I want.
Okay, you racist bastard. Anyway, I bought a bunch of their weathering effects with like the mud and dirt and smudge and ick, and use those. And I really like the way they worked.
Yeah, I really like their textures as well. They have some nice colors.
Yeah, I need to get some of those and mess with them because I've never been big into weathering, but I think it really does add to a model.
I think it adds a lot of character to a model.
And it makes them look like, oh shit, we're on the battlefield. And so I'm getting a little more into it just because of that. And honestly, with it taking me less time to paint in the free time that I have, I'm able to do cooler things like the weathering effects and stuff. Because before it was like, I just want to get this shit done to have painted minis on the table, and I have like 2 hours a night to paint something, and that's it.
Well, that's
and so
another
it
reason
was
why
so
I'm
slow.
interested in the contrast paints is for the weathering effects, like the rust and everything, because it is so translucent. So I don't have to do oil washing, which is a pain in my ass, honestly.
Yeah, oil washing is a bit of a bitch. It's really
to get
cool.
it right.
Yeah,
it takes a lot of time. Whereas with the contrast paints, I think you could just put some streaks on it and it would look similar.
Yeah,
So
I agree with you. For those of you who don't know out there, if you're wondering what oil washing is, go look it up and you'll see what we're talking about, because it is a multi-step process that is kind of a big giant pain in the ass.
but it looks great and it's
Oh,
worth
yeah.
doing.
Yeah, it does look great, and it's worth learning, but it definitely doesn't. It definitely is a lot to it, but it's cool when you do it. It's basically thinning down oil paints and using them as washes.
I did it on a Mastodon. Took fucking forever.
I can imagine.
You know how many freaking recesses are on a Mastodon?
Yeah, a lot.
Yeah.
But I mean, the good thing is you can technically. I mean, what I would do on something like that is basically get a big brush for the wash it all over, and then
That's what I did.
Yeah, and then use the sponges to get it all off the raised spots.
But
Yeah,
took a long time.
yeah, it still would take forever.
It took a long time.
Probably not as long as painting the trim on a Helldrake.
Yeah, I did that once.
Doesn't sound like fun to me.
I did that once.
That's one of those I would paint gold.
It's like building a fire raptor.
Yeah.
That's why you only ever have one fire raptor.
Right? Or if you have two, someone else built that motherfucker.
Yes.
Cool. Well, I mean, since we've kind of segued into some of the GW stuff, we can definitely talk about some of their new shit coming up. Because they got some new stuff that's really cool, and I think Joe took notes. Yeah, I actually got the illiterate bastard to write something.
Illiterate bastard.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just a redheaded stepchild of the medicine community.
Yeah. Jeremy's illiterate too, but
Yeah.
Only mostly.
Illiterate or illiterate?
illiterate.
Oh, okay.
Abby normal.
I be normal. Could be worse. Could be raining. Anyway, Games Workshop, the biggest release that they have that everybody's excited about is Apocalypse,
Yes.
Yeah.
which is Big Points Games, and I can actually use my Warlord Titan.
You can.
Yep. I'm going to try and win another one.
Ooh.
Because the one that CK Studios is doing looks fucking amazing.
I know a guy who has a couple new knights coming soon.
Oh. What does that do for you?
A bunch of stuff.
Oh,
Like Forge World Knights.
cool.
They're cool.
I know. Anyway, so tell us
Just
about
for this
Apocalypse.
game, actually.
Yeah.
Well, Apocalypse, everybody thinks it's going to be an extension of 8th edition 40K. You are wrong. It's a revamped version of Epic. I don't know if anybody out there has played Epic, but it's amazing. You should try it
I have a
sometime.
long time ago.
Basically, what it is, it's a revamped version of Epic Armageddon, the box game from the 90s.
Yes.
And but you play it in 28mm scale, and it's done by power level. They revamped power level as well, so you actually have to pay power level for upgrades now, whereas opposed when 8th edition dropped, everybody hated fucking power level because you basically buy a unit and you're like, oh yeah, I can have anything I want for free. All
Yeah.
my dudes have power fists now and gonna punch you in the face for free.
Yeah, but I mean, Power Level actually did do a good job of balancing that, because if you're doing it, then the other guy's probably doing it too.
Yeah,
So
I agree, but at the same time, I was not a fan.
most of the Power Level games I ever played were incredibly balanced. So
But anyway, Apocalypse, it's a completely new game, and it seems kind of cumbersome at first, but I think it would be a lot better. They recommend you play it on a 6x6 table, but I think it would be better on a even bigger table, because you can play with more shit. And they also recommend that you play a 300 power level, which is probably around 3,500 to 4,000 points
per side.
per side. But that fills up the 6x6 table real quick. So that's why I recommend playing on a bigger table.
Who the fuck has a 6x6 table?
It's a very awkward measurement.
Yeah. I mean, even 6x4, which I realized looking at the video, the 6x4 table measurement that we use in wargaming actually comes from the old Kriegspiel games. Because they were actually talking
That's
about
right,
it.
yeah.
But another cool thing that this does is that actually has alternating activations. So each side they make up detachments just like you would in 40K. But you get to activate one detachment at a time. And then you alternate activating detachments. So you activate all your units in one detachment at one time, and then it goes to the other person who activates all their units in that detachment at one time. And you have multiple detachments, like usually from what I found was like maybe 7 to 8.
Right. And so when you're activating a detachment, you're moving and shooting, not
Yes.
just moving.
You're moving and shooting,
Right.
but
And assaulting and all that stuff.
well, maybe depends on the orders you give.
Right.
Because at the beginning of the round, you give orders to everybody, face down. So
Right.
Nobody knows what they are, which I think is another cool thing because it could screw you, it could help you. You never know.
Right. Because the other guy could give an order to move something out of the way, and then you could
Have an advance order,
Yeah.
and you moved 12 inches and hit nothing.
Yep.
So, sad day.
This is how warfare works.
But it also helps you in that regard because you don't have to make 9-inch charges, which are fucking annoying from Deep Strike. Because you can actually have deep striking units, like you'd say deep strike Terminators, and if you give them an advance order to charge, they can move double their movement, which is 5 inches. So that means they can move 10 inches. So if you deep strike them and then you immediately activate them, you know they're going to make that charge,
That's cool.
which is nice. I like the Apocalypse rules a lot because it gets rid of the Alpha Strike effect.
Right.
Like, you put a big-ass robot that you've worked so hard to paint on the table, it's not going to be gone before you get to play with it. That's the main thing that I got.
And what mitigates that alpha strike?
The alternating alpha, and all damage is done at the end of the battle round,
Right.
which I think is awesome.
Yeah. So basically, like if you do damage to something, you put the damage markers on, or they put the
They
damage
accrue
markers on
damage
their
markers,
stuff. Yeah.
and then the damage markers actually affect your save because you have large damage markers and you have small damage markers. The small damage markers, if a unit has them, then you get to roll a d12 to make your save. You can have a save anywhere from I saw a 4-up to a 11 if you're an orc, or a 10 if you're a cultist. Now, if you get a large blast marker, which how you get those is it's 2 small blast markers combined. So basically, if you shoot at somebody, they accrue a small blast marker. If you shoot at them again and injure them again, then they get a large blast marker and you take the small one away. So basically, it's 2.
Right.
So then, if you have trying to get rid of a large blast marker, then you have to take that save on a D6. Which means if you're an orc,
You ain't making it.
you ain't rolling an 11 on a D6.
But you can activate that detachment. Those units
Before
can
they die.
do something
Yes.
before they die.
Yes, which I think
Which
is
I think
awesome.
is great. Yeah.
And I've had many a big ass robot on the field that got blown off turn 1 and it made me sad that I worked so hard to paint. And
Yeah. I mean that does create the feel badsies. When your big toy that's really cool, you put it on the table, and every time you put it on the table, everybody goes after it to kill the shit out of it.
Yes, but
I tend to have the opposite effect. It's like the thing that's like completely ambiguous that I'm really wanting to use because I have a strategy based on it that nobody would ever be able to ascertain. For some reason, they go after that shit. Or like in Malifaux, one of the crews I play, there's one model in the crew that's like, it's okay, not that great, but everybody goes after her. But she's got like a couple little abilities that I just wanted to see how they work. And so everybody kills the shit out of this model, and I'm like, really? Like that wasn't even threatening you, and you just targeted it with every attack you had. But anyway.
you can't teach people how to do stuff. They got to figure it out on their own. You know this.
Yeah.
But another cool thing that they have in this game is they actually have asset cards. Command points are gone.
Right.
There's no command points, in my opinion.
I'm not honestly. I mean, the command point stratagem thing, it's cool in some regards, and I can understand the mechanic and why it's there. But I've never been a big fan of it.
Yeah, I'm
like
not
or the
either.
way it works. I'm not a big fan. I like the idea of you have a resource that you can spend during the battle to buff and debuff things and do stuff.
Yeah, that's why I really like these cards.
Right.
Because it's basically you build a deck beforehand. And you can have up to 30 cards in your deck, and you shuffle them up, and you pull them at random. So you don't know what you're getting. And you can have up to 10 cards in your hand at once. And you get you get 1 card at the start of the round just for being there, being present. And then you get a card for every detachment commander character you have. So you can have up to 10 in a hand at once.
That's cool.
And they all do different things. They have ones that are specific to, if you're playing Space Marines, and they have ones that are specific to Space Marines, and they have ones that are specific to Space Marine chapters, and they have ones that are specific to all the other frickin' factions and mini factions they have out there. And then they have generic ones that are like a flak missile, or
Sounds a lot like the asset cards for the other side.
Right.
Song of
Similar.
Ice
Ice and Fire. Yeah.
Yeah.
Your tactics hand.
Yep.
Now, my burning question: are there void missiles?
Yes.
Yes. do you have
There are
that dome template?
There are no templates.
Oh,
They took away. You know this. They took away templates in 8th edition.
I know, but I thought maybe they'd bring back that for the void missile, because
There is
when you played Epic and you had that that dome
it.
template, and you're like, they get hit with a void missile, and you just drop the dome template, and anything in that dome template gets sucked into the warp forever and dies. That was so awesome.
Yes, I agree. I concur. But it's
Oh, and
similar-
void grenades. Stuff is so cool.
But essentially, you can pick a point on the grid, and you go, okay, everybody within 6 inches of this is going to die. If you roll a 4-up
What grid?
on a d12. It's a turn of phrase.
Oh,
It's like a battle map. It's called a grid.
yeah.
Yeah.
So there's not actually a grid.
No, it's not an actual grid.
I
It could be.
You know what? People get confused.
It could
they'll
be.
think there is.
You can draw a grid on it if you want. That would
Yeah.
make a thing. It's like, I am going to attack B12 now.
It'd be hilarious. you could play Apocalypse Battleship. But yeah,
I like it.
That's kind of their main new release. Now, one of the other things I really want to check out too of their new upcoming releases for GW stuff.
One more thing I want to go into before you do that.
Okay.
Data cards.
Yeah.
They have data cards for every unit in the frickin' game.
Yep.
And they released them all for free online,
And
including Forge World.
right, do they have printed versions that come with that $100 rulebook?
They don't come with the $100 rulebook, but they are an add-on, much like a codex.
Ah, okay.
You know, they're,
So you
they're
can buy,
$25.
So you can buy the packs of data cards
Yes,
for
and
$25.
it comes with the faction, like Chaos, Space Marines, Tau, Necrons. They have them for everybody, and I think they're $25 or $30 for all the data cards for that faction. It's basically your codex.
Yeah, this does give me a reason to actually start working on my Tau, which I wanted because I haven't messed with my Tau in forever, and I really like Tau. I don't care what anybody else says.
I killed it. You gotta kill something every day.
Yeah. Okay. Good for you.
Keeps your heart strong.
We're proud of you. It's amazing. It's great.
But I am a big fan of the data cards as well.
Yeah.
So
Those are cool
I am.
and very handy. I wish they would have released those because they have them for Age of Sigmar.
Yeah.
They released them for Apocalypse. I'm
Yeah.
like, why don't you have them for 40K as well? Because that would make gameplay so much easier.
Not true. 8th edition is the most streamlined version of the game.
To date, yes.
Let's have another Primaris Lieutenant. We need one.
Who doesn't? But anyway, like I was saying, the other new release I'm looking forward to is Warcry. That's the Age of Sigmar kill team.
Ah.
Is basically what it's called. It's the fantasy, Age of Sigmar version of Kill Team. It seems to be, with the initial release, it is centered more on chaos warbands fighting each other than just any old faction versus any old faction. From what I have seen of the previews, but I haven't gone too in depth with it yet. But I imagine they're going to be releasing more stuff. Like Killzone just had the Elites expansion, which is I've actually been like, we should break this out and try the Elite expansion because it's better than the Commanders expansion, and you get troops that you can, you get like that actual kind of linchpin troop that's cool that's in the Elite Force Org chart of your codex. So like the Tau can actually field a battle suit on freaking Killzone, which is awesome.
That's
or
cool.
Kill Team, yeah, which is awesome, and stuff like that. So you can actually have like that kind of one badass that isn't so many, like the commanders were so many points and they had the weird auras that worked in odd ways that it just was kind of cumbersome and weird to do, and we never even really messed with it.
I'm going to be totally honest.
Yeah.
The one thing that killed Kill Team for me, no berserkers with chain axes.
You're ridiculous.
They had chain swords.
Not
I was like, this is stupid.
not
This
everything
is stupid.
You could model them with chain axes if you wanted.
Why?
It'd be a lie.
It would. So you want me to lie, Eric? You want me to lie?
I mean, oh God, I don't know anymore. I just don't. McLean's gonna give me a nervous breakdown. You're gonna stroke out. I'm gonna have a nervous breakdown.
And I'll sit here and laugh at both of you.
Yes, and probably pick up a chain axe and run screaming out of my house.
I'll call 911 before I leave.
Oh, okay. Well, as long as you do that. But yeah, I'm looking forward to that too. I think it'll actually be pretty cool because I really like Kill Team. And I think playing a game and seeing how elites work will be cool. So
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
I think maybe next time we have like 3 people show up to game night, we might throw that down because we have limited options because Malifaux really only works with 2 players.
Yeah, no, it's
Which actually they did release Henchman Hardcore for third edition, so we can actually, that's much easier to do like a 3-player because you're only using like a henchman and a couple minions per side.
okay.
Yeah, and so it's easier to run around and beat on each other and actually have 3 players running.
Beat each other dicks off.
Yeah, beat each other's dicks off and dick each other's beats off.
Beat your dick off with both hands. Let's go.
But I think
the right night to come out.
yeah, right, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Feeling pretty good about my decisions.
Quit licking your lips, Jeremy.
Get out from under the table. But yeah, I think that'd be a cool thing to do. So yeah.
Awkward pause.
So who's going to the next tournament?
Which tournament?
None of us.
Oh.
What tournament?
Yeah, exactly. That's.
What's a tournament?
I'd like to actually go. It sounds like they'd be a lot of fun. I think, just any tournament event, like for any of the games I play, I think would be entertaining at least.
So
Atlanta 30K.
That Yu-Gi-Oh draw?
I don't play Yu-Gi-Oh. I don't think I've ever played Yu-Gi-Oh.
I'm gonna plug my Atlanta 30K group on Facebook. Check them out. We play, or I don't because I have a relationship with work that I have to show up, and it sucks. But they play at least once a month. Great group of guys. Go down there.
Where do they play at?
Gigabytes.
Oh, cool.
It's a nice central point for everybody. So, and there's beer. So.
When do they play?
Always makes it better.
It's different every month depending on their schedules.
But
it's at least once a month on a Saturday usually. Get on, join the Facebook group if you're interested.
Would be, but Saturday.
Yeah, that's my problem as well.
Gigabytes is a great store, just because of the different stuff they do and community support they have and the wide range of community that they do have there. Because they did a Malifaux release party that I could not attend because Saturday.
They're about to have their summer swap meet too, aren't they?
Yes.
Soon.
It's in a couple weekends.
Yeah.
A couple Sundays, I think. I'll have to look that up.
I also won't be able to attend because Sunday.
Oh. I will, and usually I go to their swap meets because they're fun.
My schedule got changed, so
Yeah.
I got the fuck B schedule, so
I gotta try to make it to this one.
Yeah, you should.
Yeah.
Because you can get some pretty cool stuff. I mean, I'll probably drag a whole bunch of my shit that I'm not going to mess with down there and just sell it dirt cheap for credit for other stuff.
Yep.
Why not? I'm not sure why you find that so funny. He keeps looking at me and giggling. I think he wants to make out with me.
Is it break time already?
Could be.
Oh.
So anyway, we've kind of run out of things to talk about.
Well, don't throw away your Chaos Space Marines because you can use them in Apocalypse. They're actually okay.
The only Chaos Space Marines I think I have are, aside from my Thousand Suns, are the ones that came in the Shadow Spear box set that I have not opened yet.
Oh.
And I'm probably never going to use them.
I have like 100 Chaos Space Marines that I haven't used since, I don't know, 6th edition.
Yeah, we know. Everybody's impressed, Joe. You got the biggest Chaos Space Marine dick at the table.
I would like to see, I think I do have the biggest World Eaters one.
I was hoping to get through a podcast without him saying World Eater.
Really? No.
It's
not going to happen. Ever.
Never, ever going to happen. Anyway, moving on, because nobody gives a shit about your World Eaters and your fucking chain axes.
You will.
No. I think we've all run out of dick jokes and
never
things to talk about. So anyway, this has been a inaugural something retardation. Anyway, redoing
something works. Yeah.
Recycle
Something.
Remaking, revamping of said podcast. No longer the Beer Hammer podcast, now the Beer Dice and Sick Minis podcast. And we're going to be trying to release bi-weekly most of the time. Yeah, that's not bisexual.
Oh.
Yeah, it's very
It's
different.
not.
I mean,
Right.
you're putting all these limits on it, Eric.
I never said that wasn't going to happen, but, bi-weekly is every other week. That's what that means.
Oh.
Yeah.
I've been showing up to the wrong place.
Yeah. He's been showing up behind the Target.
Hey, it's classier than Kmart.
True. Still the same dirty hobos behind it.
Don't you judge me.
Anyway, yeah, so we kind of, like I said, we decided to try and redo everything. Let us know what you think. You're welcome to join our Facebook group, the BD and SM Drunkards. Because why not? We're drunk all the time.
Yeah.
I'm sweating beer. And
Tell us all how much you love to hate us. It's great.
yeah.
just if anybody at work is listening, I am not drunk because I have to ride an ambulance in 2 hours. So just, yeah.
He is crying.
I am.
There's been a lot of crying about this.
I am.
Yet he knew ahead of time.
I did.
But anyway,
But I hate myself, so it's okay. Awkward pause.
I have the conch shell. No. Anyway, please do let us know what you think. Feel free to rate us again on iTunes or whatever media propagator you get your podcast through. Let us know. Give us comments. I honestly, unless it's on that Facebook, I probably don't see them because I don't get a notification that you've left them. So I don't even know if we have any on iTunes yet. Any ratings? We probably do, and they're probably all horrible.
5-star ratings only. If not,
all the
then
ones
you
I
can skip
left.
it.
So
Yeah.
I've been making new email addresses and leaving one. So
I'm sure. Oh, and another last note: the Nova Open Charity Foundation, mentioning the Winning the Warlord, their auction for the big auction they do every year that actually they announce the winners at the Nova Open and all that kind of stuff just went live July 1st. So you can actually go and buy raffle tickets. They're doing another Warlord Titan that is beautiful, called the Siege of Heaven, that's painted by CK Studios, who are the people that go around and do airbrush classes. And I'm hoping one day to have them on for some interview kind of things. And I plan on taking their class whenever they come through Atlanta, which I've been trying to organize with Gigabytes, actually. Them and there's actually it was one of the freaking successor chapters for the Imperial Fist.
the Crimson Fist, or
No, not the Crimson Fist. Anyway, it's one that I don't recognize.
Black Templars?
No, it's one I don't recognize the name of. I think I can't remember.
Well,
I may be wrong on that, but they're selling a really beautifully painted army for that. My buddy Joe Johnson, he's done several models for several of the things in there. They even have some Infinity stuff and some other things
Yeah, they do a lot of
up
stuff.
for auction. They have a ton of shit.
Even if you don't play 40K.
And everything you buy, every raffle ticket you buy goes to help charity. So even if you don't win, even if you don't win, you've helped somebody, and therefore you won.
hell yeah.
Yeah, basically. So yeah, the feel free to check
That's
that
the
out.
only thing I'm ever going to win, so.
What, the yawn competition?
No, the hell, giving something to charity. I might as well just make a donation. Because
Well, yeah, you can by buying raffle tickets.
I know, but I'm saying that I won't win, so I don't even need
Look,
the raffle
I said
ticket.
that too.
Which that lets everyone out there know you have better odds because he knows he won't win.
Exactly.
And you know what? I said that too. I said there's no way in hell I'm winning anything. I don't care. I bought a bunch of raffle tickets for several of the different auctions, and the one I bought the least amount of raffle tickets for, because I thought I had no chance in hell of winning it, was what I won.
And he hasn't stopped bragging about it since.
Not bragging. I'm just saying. And honestly,
I'm just saying.
I'm just stating facts over here.
and I mean, bragging or holy shit, I actually won something for once in my life, so I'm proud of it, so I'm going to show it off.
I've never shown off anything that I won.
Well, that's
Because I don't win anything.
Yeah, well, that's because you're a boring person with a shite personality.
It's true.
Anyway, let us know what we think of our new format redo and all that kind of stuff. There's going to be a lot more editing and things like that involved too. I'm not going to edit the main content and conversation that we have, but I do want to add in different intro music and things like that, and kind of do some more, which people will have heard at the beginning of this. So it's like a time machine. Time machine helps you go back in time. Yeah. Okay. Blank stares.
Also no.
Also no. That was also that was actually literally because I put in the show notes about how we were going to do a little bit of talk about the Hobby League a little bit, because I went Sunday. That was a battle day. That was like the 1,500 point battle day. And that's literally the summation of that Hobby League battle day.
What? Also no.
Also no.
Also no.
Also no.
Myself and Chance were the only people who showed up.
Oh.
And I was like, I really don't feel like playing 40K. So I taught some of the folks up at Vendetta how to play Malifaux instead. It was good times.
I was working.
Yeah. I wasn't. Anyway, so yeah, let us know. And you guys all have a great day, whatever, until next time we see you or don't see you because it's radio.
It's radio. God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Get your head out of your ass.
Paint minis, move them around a table,
Yeah.
get in fights.
Paint, play stuff, join our Facebook group, tell us what you think, tell us what you do. We'd love to hear about it or at least heckle you needlessly about
Kill, maim, burn.
Yeah.
Yep. Anyway, good night. Fuck off.